Hello creeps, Andy here, and today I have a September wrap-up for you. So all the books I read in September, which means that today is October 1st. So happy October 1st, you creepy, beautiful people. Anyways, let's go through the books that I read this month. I read quite a bit. I was surprised at how much I read. A lot of them were shorter, like novella type books though, so. But anyways, the first book that I read this month was Riley Sager's Home Before Dark. This was pretty fun. I've really been enjoying Riley Sager's books this year. I'm really glad I gave him a chance and picked one up. This is about a girl who, her family lived in a house, this big mansion, I guess, when she was little, only for about a month before fleeing in the night, and she doesn't remember anything from her time there. But afterwards her father wrote a horror book, like a haunted house story about their time at the mansion, which accrued them a lot of money and fame, and she never really believed what happened and that the ghosts really did exist. She promises him on his deathbed that she won't return to the house, but after he passes away, she inherits the house, didn't know that he even still owned it, she's never returned to it, so now she decides to go back. And she does plan on fixing it up and selling it, but she does have ulterior motives as well. She wants to know if the house really is haunted or if her father lied about the whole thing, which she assumes he did. So she goes on this whole journey to try to figure out what happened at the house. It's a fun story, and yeah, I really enjoyed that one. The next one that I read was Children of the Corn. This is the Stephen King short story in the book Night Shift. The first time I read it, I did a whole movie verse book, so I'll leave that linked down below if you're interested in it. But I gotta tell you, one of my favorite Stephen King short stories that I read. I loved this story so much. I never really liked Children of the Corn growing up. The movie was just always whatever to me. Even when I watched it as a little kid, I thought it was a little silly. And then I read the short story and I was like, oh wait, this is a great story. How did they mess it up so bad? So yeah, one of my favorite Stephen King short stories. It's about, you guys know what Children of the Corn is about, but I'll leave that video linked down below in case you don't. Anyways, another movie verse book I did was A Haunting in Venice. This movie just came out and it's based on the book Halloween Party by Agatha Christie, and I gotta tell ya, I was a little disappointed by this book. I've read other Agatha Christie books in the past that I've really enjoyed, and this one just wasn't one of them. It's about a girl who gets drowned in a bucket of apple bobbing, like where you bob for apples, and before she gets murdered, she says that she saw a murder when she was younger, so they don't know if maybe the original murderer murdered her too, or she made it up and it was some weird accident. They don't really know what's going on. But anyways, this detective, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name again, but this detective comes to try to solve the crime of who murdered this girl. But there's just kind of weird stuff in here and it didn't really hold my attention. I much prefer whodunits that are like a group of people here and they get knocked off one by one. Those are my preferred whodunits. If it's just a book where one person dies and it's a detective asking questions for 200 pages, it gets a little boring. Oh, next up I read Baby Fights by Robert Essig. So I did read other shorter books too in that extreme horror video, but I'm not going to count them if they're like 15-20 pages, you know. But this one was long enough that I felt like I could count it, and this one I actually liked. It is more of an extreme horror book, so you know, keep that in mind. I'm not like recommending it to everybody, but it was actually pretty funny, and it is about babies fighting to the death. I think they're given like angel dust or something, and then they fight to the death for the entertainment of rich people. It was just a fun concept. The book was pretty fun and it was pretty well written, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good for like a more extreme concept of a book. I said in that video, I was like, can't you actually see rich people paying to see babies fight to the death? Because I sure can. Anyways, the next one that I read was this guy right here, Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar, and this is my first time reading this guy as well, and it was pretty fun. It's about a girl who moves to a small town. They have this creepy clown as the mascot, and when they go and enter a cornfield for a party, the clown comes out to murder the children, and then, you know, the story continues from there. It very much so reads like a PG-13 slasher movie. So if you really enjoy those, I can't imagine that you wouldn't like this. The only thing I would say about this one, well, one, there's a little bit of political ideology beneath the surface, which there's no problem with that, but just, you know, in case you haven't picked up the book, it's not like it's plastered all over the place. It's just kind of in the background, but it is there. But the thing that I wanted to say was that I'm not a huge YA reader, and this definitely read like a YA book, so that was kind of like my own personal, not even issue with it, because I actually did enjoy the read and I thought it was fun, but I don't often, you know, gravitate towards YA books. So it just depends, you know, what you're looking for and what you're into. But if you like YA, you like PG-13 slashers, I think that you'll really enjoy this one. And I liked it enough that eventually I will pick up the second one and read that one too. But yeah, I thought it was a fun concept, a unique way that it was written. Not a lot of books give you that feel that you're watching, you know, a horror slasher film. And so yeah, I really liked the uniqueness of that book. I also read Come With Me. Sorry, I'm just making sure that they're in order because some of them I don't have the physical copies. I also read Ronald Malfi's Come With Me, and I did not know, I always leave my little guys in here. Oh, it's Dorothy from Golden Girls. Okay, wait, what was I gonna say? Totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I was a little nervous to read this one because Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi is like one of the best books I've ever read, ever, in my life. And then I read his book of novellas and it just didn't do it for me. So I didn't know how this one was going to be, but it was, wow, one of the best thriller books I've ever read, truly. It's fantastic. It's about this man who is married, he has a wife, and his wife dies in a tragic accident. She gets shot by someone and killed in like a shooting. So I don't know if accident's the right word for that. Anyways, besides the point, he ends up finding a bunch of stuff that she tried to hide from him. What he comes to realize is that she had collected all of this evidence from these young girls that have been murdered in various states, kind of close to where they were living at the time. And so he's like, why is she looking into this? She was a journalist, but she did like bakery openings and stuff like that. She didn't investigate murders. So he digs a little bit deeper to try to figure out if she was onto something, what she was looking for. He goes to these towns and asks questions. It is such a great book. The thing that I really love about Ronald Malfi is like you can tell when he's writing those stories that he's experienced something like it. So for example, in this book, it was very heavy on the loss, the grief, the guilt, and my God, could you feel that in every page? There were so many quotes in here that just got me. Actually, I think I've just found it. I think it's this. She says, it's good for them. Okay, so she's talking to him about the loss of his wife. She says, it's good for them to haunt you in the beginning. It's how we grieve. It's how we get through it without them. But after a time, we must let them go. They need to rest and we need to move on. We haunt ourselves. In the end, if we don't come to peace with it, if we can't resolve it, we haunt ourselves. And my God, is that the truest statement ever? Yeah, I don't know. This book just hit me. It really hit me. I sobbed at the end. This book got me. It's a really good book to, if you want to feel those emotions of like grief and guilt. And, you know, obviously I haven't lost my wife, but it still, I think, pertains to all loss. A lot of these quotes in here, I took pictures and posted a lot of them on Instagram, so if you guys saw them there, yeah, they came from this guy. A really fantastic book, and I just really can't recommend that one enough. That'll probably be in my recommendations for fall, my fall reading recommendations, so you'll see that one again. The next one that I read was Pumpkin Spice and a Body on Ice. This one I'll just put up a picture so you can see who it was written by, because I don't know off the top of my head and I didn't write it down. These next ones are the cozy mysteries. I made a whole pumpkin spice cozy mystery horror book video that I posted not that long ago. So you guys can check that out if you want more information, but it's just a cozy mystery, a murder in a small town. I mean, that's kind of what all of these are. This one was really, really cute. This was Pumpkin Spice Sacrifice by Addison Moore, and I enjoyed this so much that I got the previous two because I wanted to see, well, one of them's another Halloween one, so I wanted to read it this Halloween. and I didn't want to read the one after because it's a Christmas one. I don't want to wait 2 months, so I just got the previous two. But this was another cute one. It's a girl who can see ghosts or dead pets of ghosts, or pets of dead people. I haven't really figured that part out yet. But anyways, she owns a bakery and someone gets murdered from her pumpkin spice, and so she has to clear her name, and so she does some investigative. Oh no, it's one of those words I can't say. She investigates. Okay. Next up, I have Pumpkin Spice Sacrifice, Pumpkin Spice and Haunted Twice. This one's by Jeffrey Shields. This one was more of like a slapstick comedy, just like absolutely silly. But it's, again, they're trying to solve a crime, not a murder, but they're trying to find a missing briefcase. The detective is also a chef, and so instead of finding clues, he finds ingredients, and he's trying to make a pumpkin spice. Like that part, it was cute, but it just, you know, it was a little slapsticky for me. Oh, I also read The Great Pumpkin Spice Slaughter by Marco Manone, but I didn't write that in here for some reason. Oh, maybe because it's a shorter book. Yeah, that's probably why. But anyways, that one was really funny. I mean, it's basically about white women going absolutely insane after drinking pumpkin spice and basically turning into like mindless zombies where they're just trying to kill people, and it's a pretty fun, cute story. So if you want something horror pumpkin spice related, I would say pick that one up. And the last book that I read this month was Holly by Mr. Stephen King. I'm gonna do a whole video on this, so I'm not really gonna give you too much information. I'll just kind of tell you what it's about, but I think my next video, I was surprised that a few of you had commented and said that you wanted a whole Holly video, so I was like, well, if you guys want it, I'll make it, because I have read all of the Holly books, and so in that video, I'll give you more detail. I'll list all of the Holly books, I'll rank them how I enjoyed them, and I'll go into more detail about this because I have a lot to say about this book. But basically it's about this character Holly Gibney, who shows up in quite a few Stephen King books, novellas. She's a private investigator. I think she calls herself an investigator, and she's hired by a woman whose daughter has gone missing. And so she tries to find out who this person is that may have murdered her daughter, or at least abducted her. And so they go on this whole journey, and the antagonists in the book are very interesting. Holly's an interesting character. So that's kind of all I'll say about that one, because my Tuesday video will probably be that Holly video, so I'll give you a lot more information on that book and how I feel about it and stuff like that then. But yeah, I read 10 different stuffs this month, 10 books, novellas, short stories, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a lot. I'm on track. I finished 77 books so far this year, so I'm on track to read 100 books. So I'm hoping that I can read 100 books by the end of the year. So we'll see. But anyways, that is my wrap up for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy October, and I will see you soon with another horror video. Bye, guys.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.